What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show. Good to have you, Dustin.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. A great week of football, man. Week 5 did not disappoint. Great games all over the league. What'd you think, man? Great football, huh?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Great football, great a lot of things to talk about, and some pretty controversial stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it had everything. And let's just get right into it. Your Colts in Denver in Mile High against the Broncos. 1-2-1 against 2-2. Big game for Indy. I picked Denver. You picked Indy to win this game, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Why did you think the Colts could go into Denver and get this win?
I mean, because it was both teams that had started slow almost every game they played so far, and I just felt like Indy needed to win more.
Yeah, and it wasn't pretty by any means. It was ugly, in fact. But a lot of people were hating on this game. I love ugly football. I grew up on ugly football, watching the 90s and 2000s Bears and the 2000 90s 2000s Ravens and the Bucks, where it was all defense. This is a great game, and Indy was down most of the game, but just like kept fighting, stayed in the game, and found a way to win in overtime. I mean, credit to them. That's a hard fought win. And in my opinion, sometimes you can tell more about a team in the ugly wins and the hard fought wins than you can in the pretty and the easy wins, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hats off to Indy had a player step up. They had a Pro Bowler, step up and make a play when it mattered. And
He
that's what
made
they
multiple plays. You're talking about Stephon Gilmore, right?
yes.
Man, because he had that interception, which, bro, what the hell was Russell Wilson thinking there? Like, you're up 9-6. You got the one thing you can't do is turn the ball over. If you just run the ball, if you throw the ball away, you go up 12-6 there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean that was both on Russell Wilson and it was just an even better play by Stephon Gilmore because Russell Wilson was just a half a second. If he would have released that a half a second sooner, that's six. But Stephon Gilmore noticed that and he jumped the route.
Yeah. No, it's a great play by Gilmore. I mean, isn't he a former defensive player of the year?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's a baller, and so it's nice to see him doing this still at this age. And but in my opinion, it was a mistake by Russell Wilson, and he knows better. And maybe they should have just been running the ball because 3 points there is so valuable in a game that you've gone the entire game and Indy hasn't been able to get into the end zone. So if you go up 6, that almost guarantees a win, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially against a struggling offense, man. Indy could not get nothing.
Yeah. And so, I mean, massive win for the Colts. They get back to 500 after a terrible start to the season. A big win in Denver. Credit to them. And for Denver, they're just giving games away, and Nathaniel Hackett is a big reason for that. Um, he's a rookie head coach. He's the offensive play caller, and I think that Russell Wilson is struggling, but I feel like the offense is just off a little bit on timing and chemistry and everything. I expect that to get going later in the season and here soon. I expect the offense to get going, but losing Javante Williams is huge. And I just my questions are on Nathaniel Hackett. Is he the right guy for the job? That's where I put most of the blame. What about you?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I mean, he's at at the end of the day, it's his team, it's his offense,
Yeah,
and you have to come out and perform better. But on the flip side, same thing for Frank Reich. You can't keep coming out and starting slow because you, you're lucky that you face teams so far on your schedule, besides the Chiefs that haven't really punched you in the mouth. If you go, teams like Dallas we have coming up. We have to go to New England and stuff. Teams like that are going to punch us in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to overcome these slow starts for sure. That's gonna, you keep getting behind on teams. Denver didn't go up big, and so it allowed Indy to stay in the game. You get down 14-0, 17-0. Those are hard to overcome. I don't care how much time is left on the clock.
Yep, I agree.
Um, Good news for you guys though. Rookie wide receiver Alec Pierce steps up with a career high 8 catches for 81 yards. I mean, if he can get going and be the number two next to Pittman, that's huge.
Yeah, man, he had some big catches too. I mean, his catches were massive.
Yeah. And credit to kicker Chase McLaughlin. You guys cut Rodrigo Blankenship week 1. Um, and McLaughlin, he's 7 for 8 since joining the team.
And that's what we need, man, because there was a couple of times where we had to rely on the leg of Rodrigo and he just let us down.
Yeah. How you feeling? You play the 2-3 Jags at Lucas Oil Field this coming Sunday. How do you feel about this game? It's a big game because you don't want to lose and get swept by the Jaguars. So big game to, if you can get the win, avoid the sweep and get above 500.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable because it's in Indy and we usually most of the time win our divisional games there. Now, if it was in Jacksonville, I'd probably take it down as a loss because for some reason we can't win there.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see. Jacksonville coming off a tough loss as well, so they're going to be fired up. Should be a good game. Um, and then the 2-3 Broncos will travel to LA to take on the Chargers Monday Night Football, a big AFC West matchup. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you watch the Sunday game in London, the 9:30 kickoff Giants at Packers?
Uh, I did catch some of it, but man, that's the early start time.
Man, try living in Seattle, getting up at 6:30 to watch these. West
Yeah.
Coast, that's
Um,
brutal. Um, but a great game, man. The Packers jump out 20-10 halftime lead, and you assume everything's going to script. You assume the Packers are going to win this. That the Giants 3-1 start is, you know, not real. Like they're going to come back down to earth. Um, and the Giants straight up, I mean, shut out Aaron Rodgers' offense in the second half. 0 points. They score on a self-inflicted safety late because of the time, but they rally and win 27-22, outscoring the Packers 17-2 in the second half. Impressive as hell, huh?
yeah, eh, that is pretty impressive. And man, how about the year Saquon Barkley's having? I mean, healthy, and that's huge for the Giants.
Yeah, he's balling. He's huge. He absolutely is. I agree. Like they need a healthy Saquon Barkley, and they're finally getting it. And Daniel Jones stepped up. He came through in the clutch. He was making some big plays, both with his arm and his legs. And a key point on Daniel Jones, Dustin, what do we always complain about? Too many turnovers with him. Turnover free in this game in London.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show that if Saquon's playing well and Daniel Jones don't turn the ball over, the Giants are a pretty good football team.
Yep. How do you feel about the Packers offense? The Giants kind of exposed them in that second half. Green Bay's leading receiver is an old Randall Cobb, 7 catches for 99 yards. Does Green Bay's offense, do they have enough weapons to be successful? Or is this gonna be a down year for Green Bay? I mean, they're 3-2. What do you think how do you think the season's gonna go? Because that was
I,
a bad loss.
what is a down year to you? Like is it
Well, let's say this.
playoffs?
Minnesota's 4-1. Do the Packers win the division this year? Because I'm thinking they might not.
I agree. When we did our preseason, I actually picked Minnesota to win. So the answer to your question is, unless they get help, man, I just don't see them being able to take it farther than maybe a wild card game.
Yeah, and you know what that means? That means you're playing on the road in the playoffs. and they haven't exactly had that much success in the last couple years in the playoffs either, you know.
Uh,
So we'll see. And how do you feel about the Giants? 4-1. I mean, if you told us the Giants were going to start the season 4-1, we would have never believed it, right? Are they for real, or are they just off to a hot start and going to come back down to earth?
um, I need to see more. You know,
Yeah.
um, ask me week 9, week 10.
Yep. Well, big test on Sunday, week 6. The 3-2 Ravens at the 4-1 Giants. If you can beat the Ravens, you're at home. If you can get to 5-1 and beat Lamar Jackson, another big ass win potentially.
Now that would probably open eyes.
Yeah,
Because
Saquon's gonna need to be at his best for that.
yeah, because the Ravens' record doesn't reflect the talent that they have. You know.
No, they're a very good team, and I expect the Ravens to get going. I could see them easily winning at 11 wins, right? Double digit wins at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Jets, surprisingly, the 3-2 Jets go to Lambeau to take on the 3-2 Packers. Green Bay has to bounce back, right? There's no way the Jets are going to go into Lambeau and steal a win.
Yeah. Green Bay has to win that game. I mean, man, you lose to the Jets, that's not a good look.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, though, he's back. He's not playing too bad. Robert Sala's got that defense, performing.
Yeah. Um, Aaron Rodgers too. He missed practice today for a thumb. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't. I definitely expect him to play. So, but we'll see if it affects, his accuracy at all.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers, Bills in Buffalo. So, what are your thoughts, Mike Tomlin switching from Mitch Trubisky to Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett getting his first start in Buffalo. Mitch Trubisky played for the Bills last year. Would you have rather played Mitch for this game, or were you cool with the move to go to Kenny Pickett?
Um, I think he made the move too soon.
I do
Uh,
too.
this right here, in my opinion, is proving that, or is just basically showing that you don't have faith that you're gonna win this season.
Yeah,
So
maybe it's a bad year. Maybe they're starting to admit that in Pittsburgh.
yeah, and you just want to develop your future. I would say.
I agree it was too soon because, and the exact words he said was looking for a spark. I mean, I don't know if the rookie's going to do that. I think he bailed too soon on Mitch. It was only, the middle of week 4 when he made that move. I mean, I didn't like it. And Kenny Pickett is struggling. And the Bills blow the Steelers out 38-3. Josh Allen throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Man, this Bills team is looking good, huh?
Very good. Explosive man, and that's why I'm sticking with my Super Bowl pick, and I'm sticking with my MVP frontrunner, Josh Allen.
All right. Yeah, they should be the front runner right now. Big ass game from Gabriel Davis, 3 catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 8 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown. And the rookie running back James Cook gets his first career touchdown. If he can step in and be that number 2 running back to go with Singletary, be a good pass catcher as well, that could be a pretty good, that's not a bad running back tandem, right?
No, not at all. And hear me out, right? So there's kind of speculation going on right now of a Christian McCaffrey trade to the Bills, and
Yeah.
that's something that the league, in my opinion, would not want because if he goes to Bills, man, it might just be over with if he stays healthy.
Yeah, someone said if Christian McCaffrey goes to the Bills, we don't need to play the rest of the games. Just hand the trophy to Buffalo. I'm not going to go that far. Any team is beatable on any Sunday, but Christian McCaffrey would be huge. That's what we've been saying for 3 years now is give Josh Allen and the Bills a good running back and watch them take off. It's like, how do you defend that now?
Yep, for sure, man. And you know, him going there would just be a game changer because not only that, but you can take the pressure off of Josh Allen from having to run all the time.
Yeah, and that's what teams do if they're trying to win a championship. They go get Von Miller. They make a trade for Christian McCaffrey. And that's something I was kind of looking to see out of your Colts. And that's something I was looking to see out of Green Bay and a couple different teams. It's like, where's the aggressiveness? If you really want to go win a championship, you should be acting like the Buffalo Bills. And how often do we say that?
Yeah, man, it's crazy saying that.
Yep. George Pickens is a lone bright spot for the Steelers. Steps up with 6 catches for 83 yards. He looks like a future star. He looks very similar to me to DK Metcalf. You could just see it. His talent jumps off the TV screen when he's making plays. Um, Man, I wish my Bears could have drafted him.
Yeah, man. The kid's gonna be a star, absolutely.
And
Uh,
it's not just the Bears. A lot of teams are looking back. Green Bay, a lot of different teams are like, man, they could really use the talent of George Pickens.
it's still crazy to me how he fell out of the first round. I won't
Yeah,
never. I'll never
I
understand.
know. Just because of rumors, you know what I mean? They do too much in that draft process. Um, Here's something that might surprise you. The Steelers have the worst point differential in the NFL at minus 51.
Wow.
So that goes to show you our eyes are telling us the truth. This is a bad team right now. And Najee Harris is super frustrated. You could see it post game. He was just sitting there with his pads on, and Mike Tomlin had to kind of console him. And it's like there's no running lanes, no receivers besides George Pickens who can get open whenever he wants. Even Claypool's struggling. No one can get open. There's no running lanes. There's not time for the quarterback to throw the ball, and it's obvious that it's more than just the quarterback position in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues. I mean, but if there's a guy who can fix them, it's definitely Mike Tomlin.
Man, usually yes. I don't think even Mike Tomlin can fix it. I think this is a 5 to 6 win team this year. That's how much I've flipped. In the preseason, I was telling you the Steelers might contend for this division. Now I've completely changed my tune. This might be a 5 or 6 win team, bro.
Even if he made, okay, so do you think the Kenny Pickett move is permanent, or would he go back to Trubisky if he felt like he could salvage maybe? Um,
What do you What are you salvaging though? Let's say Mitch Trubisky comes in and plays better. What's your ceiling? 8 to 9 wins? You
I mean,
know,
if you want to keep that streak of having a winning season alive, he's never had a losing season since he got hired by Pittsburgh.
I think ownership will overrule him in that. I think ownership might already be calling the shots in Pittsburgh, saying, "Look, this is a lost season. Let's play Kenny Pickett and start the development process right now."
Yeah, and a lot of that is to be blamed also on the
The
Pittsburgh fans,
GM, right?
the GM,
Huh?
but yeah, the media and the fans didn't help anything though either.
Yeah, but like I said, I think that's a move that came from ownership. It doesn't seem like a Mike Tomlin move to me. It seems like a ownership saying, "We're not any good. Let's go ahead and start the development process right now." So they
Yeah,
might be somewhat tanking the season, especially with TJ Watt getting hurt week one like that. It's like this season's already not going our way. Maybe we should, change plans.
yeah, and that's crazy because Pittsburgh fans are not gonna like that.
No, but they were chanting for Kenny Pickett, so they got what they wanted. So deal with that now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So 3-2 Bucks at the 1-4 Steelers. I mean, I expect the Steelers to be 1-5 after next week.
Yeah, and it's crazy to say the Steelers 1-5.
Yeah,
Uh,
yep.
yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
Big Ben was doing better, doing more than we thought, even at that old age. Keeping that team afloat.
yeah, oh yeah, of course, man. Big Ben is a legend.
Yep. And then the game of the week, the potential AFC Championship game preview. The 4-1 Buffalo Bills at the 4-1 Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh, man, I'm excited for that game.
Me too. I'm gonna be picking the Bills in that one.
You know what? It's at Arrowhead, correct?
Yes,
You know what, man? The Chiefs just came off of, my opinion, an emotional win against a division rival
that they could have lost
that they should have lost.
in Arrowhead. What would that loss have said? That loss would have been like, damn, what's up with these Chiefs, right?
Oh yeah, um, most definitely. I mean,
So
I'm gonna go with the Bills just because I like the Buffalo Bills a lot.
all right, all right. The LA Chargers, two big game here. The 2-2 Chargers at the 2-2 Browns. You know, there's a big difference between 3-2 and 2-3. About how you feel about your team, how the fans feel, and your expectations for the rest of the year. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, big game. The Browns, surprisingly, I think most people are picking Justin Herbert and the Chargers to win this, to go into the dog pound, go into Cleveland, get a win. Surprisingly, the Browns jump out to a 14-0 lead, but the Chargers rally and hang on to win 30-28. In my opinion, looking back over this game, sloppy game, a lot of mistakes from the players, the coaches, and the officials. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And speaking of coaches, man, Staley is just lucky that his team won that game.
He's trying to give games away, isn't he?
I mean, I wouldn't say give games away because I don't think no head coach would want to give games away, but it definitely seems like it by the way he is being too aggressive.
I mean, just consider the math in this situation. Everyone likes analytics, right? Well, let's consider some math here. Let's use some common sense. You're at midfield, right? You
Yep.
got a 2-point lead, and it's fourth down. Wouldn't common sense say punt the ball away and play defense? And because if you go for it and it's a turnover on downs, you're giving the Browns the ball at midfield, and all they need is a field goal. So they need to go like 15 yards and they're in field goal range, right?
Yeah, you absolutely should punt that because if you're at the 50 and the average NFL kicker probably 30, high 30s, 40-yard kick, that puts it at what, the 10?
Yeah, well, shit. I mean, you're seeing guys make it from 50 plus consistently nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I'm punting it every time. I think that's a reckless, aggressive for no reason decision that should have cost this team. And instead, the Browns do get into field goal range, but rookie kicker Cade York misses what would have been the game winning field goal, a 54-yard attempt. And the Chargers survive with a big win. But I mean, man, Cleveland should have won this game. And you feel for that rookie kicker. I mean, he was getting a lot of praise early in the season, but has two big missed field goal attempts in this game that cost the team.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but he's a rookie. He'll get better, but man, you have to make those kicks in games like that.
Yeah, but I mean, bad. Kevin Stefanski with some bad decisions, some in the game as well. Um, let's see what else. Did you see Justin Herbert? One of the worst penalties of the week. Justin Herbert it tries to run for a first down on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, slides short of the first down, gets hit, not in the head, like barely hard at all. And they threw a flag and said 15 yards automatic first, and it would have been 4th and 1.
Huh. It don't surprise me at all anymore, Alex. Man, I tell you, they just want these guys out here to start wearing flags or something. It's just
Well, so I understand player safety, and I don't really have a problem with the rules as they are written, but you're seeing a lot of referees throwing the flag because they think there's something egregious, right?
Yeah,
And they don't know for sure because it's happening so fast in real time. I've been preaching this ever since I started the podcast. We have to start making these penalty calls reviewable. That would make it a lot better of a chance to get the call right by going to review, slowing it down, and seeing exactly what happened. Do you agree?
absolutely. And okay, let me say this in a better way, for better understanding, in my opinion. So I see it as like, also you need to sit down with these referees and clearly say, look, if you're going to call this, be consistent at least, or what is roughing the passer, what's not, what's targeting, what's not. You need to be clear, and instead of having these controversial calls, you need to put it in the rule book as to exactly what it is.
100%. But an issue is a while back when they made these rule changes to in the name of player safety, the league told the officials, when in doubt, err on the side of it's a penalty, right? For the sake of player protection, throw the flag if you think something happened, not if you are unsure. And I'll err on the side of throwing the flag. And that's bullshit in my opinion because it changes the outcome of games, and there's no awareness to the time and situation when making these calls, and there's a lot of penalty, plays and tackles and contact being flagged when it's textbook, when it's nothing egregious at all. So you have to be able to go to review, slow it down, throw the penalty. Sure, as long as you can go to replay and be like, "Oh, come on, that's not a penalty," and review it and change it. You know what I mean?
Yep,
And that's
absolutely.
why you can do that in college because that's targeting. So they always go and review it. And how many times? Quite a few actually. Targeting is reversed, is it not?
Yeah, that's true. Is because when you reveal it, you get it in a slower version of what actually happened.
Yeah, and you can tell if there was egregious, if he was targeting, if he was aiming for the head, and if it was, real contact to the head. And I mean, come on, anyone that looks at replay would have overturned this penalty and the Tom Brady roughing the passer one, and the Chris Jones one, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially because Derek Carr fumbled the ball right there.
Bro, in the post game replay, the refs doubled down and said, even with the fumble, that's a penalty. So
Oh,
we have to change some stuff. We have to start getting these calls right because this is ridiculous. But we got off topic there. I mean, a lot to complain about in that regard with the officiating and all that. But a big win for the Chargers. They get to 3-2. We'll take on the Broncos on Monday night. Let me go ahead and say this. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I'm sure it is because a lot of people like Justin Herbert and the Chargers. They're at home. The Broncos have been struggling. Give me the Denver Broncos to go into SoFi and get the win on Monday night.
oh, um, you know what? I am gonna go with the Chargers. And
I knew
real,
you were.
real quick, let me say this to Denver fans: like, come on, guys, you guys walked out on your team because they went to overtime. Like, that's that's just poor fan base to me, bro.
It is. That's really bad. Like, support your team or not. If you're gonna show up, stay till the end.
I
But
mean,
we've seen, the Miami Heat and teams like that do that. But that was when they were down big, not tied going into overtime. Like, what the hell?
who wouldn't want to watch free extra football? I mean, I'm down for it.
Yeah. So, well, it's a fantasy football fans. You know what I mean? They want, if it's not 50-40, they think it's boring football. And I don't understand it. To me, football is football. I love it. I don't care if it's ugly, high scoring, low scoring. I don't give a shit. I love football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and the 2-3 Patriots at the 2-3 Browns. How do you see this game going? This is an interesting matchup. I mean, because every time I feel like, okay, this is who the Browns are, they're not that great, and I pick against them. then they show up and they get a win. And when I pick them to win, they get beat. How can you judge this Browns team, and who do you think wins between the Patriots and the Browns in Cleveland?
Well, I mean, question is, does Cleveland or does New England all of a sudden have a superstar, or you know? But
Bailey Zappi?
yeah,
Man, keep an eye on him. I liked what I saw. Tell me if you agree. Bailey Zappi jumped off the screen to me more than Mac Jones has so far. Like I liked what I saw out of Bailey Zappi, and I think there's a higher potential there, possibly.
yeah. I mean, I know it coming out of college when you throw for 64 passing touchdowns in a season,
I think it
regardless
was
what
62, wasn't it?
or 62, yeah. And then I think like two or three in the bowl game or something.
And
But
like damn near 6,000 yards,
yeah, that's
I
that
think.
that's a pretty talented guy, man.
Yeah,
But
ridiculous numbers.
at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with Cleveland just because I think Jacoby Brissett does enough to keep them in the game, and I still like their defense.
Yeah, um, I want to see the Patriots do well for some reason. I know Matt Patricia's calling plays, so that doesn't help my chances. I hope Bailey Zappi gets the start again. I want to see him go. And a guy that I really like for New England, Ramondre Stevenson, had a big game. And I've always said, out of Rutgers, right?
Yep.
I've always said he's got a high potential. And with Damian Harris out a couple weeks, maybe they are going against Nick Chubb, but maybe Ramondre Stevenson can keep that running game matchup close.
Yeah. You
So,
know.
so you're going Cleveland though?
Yep. I'm going
I'm gonna
Cleveland.
go. I'm gonna go New England. Big
Ooh,
game for both teams. Neither team wants to be 2-4.
you got that. You got that special kind of love for Bill Belichick, man, because you. It's hard for you to ever root against him.
Well, bro, more so than love, it's trust. It's like, bro, man, I've seen him win no matter what. So naturally, I'm gonna tend to lean Bill Belichick's way always. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe he found something with Bailey Zappi and Ramondre Stevenson, and then Kevin Stefanski made some questionable decisions that led to that loss, this last week. So I'm not as high on Kevin Stefanski either.
I understand that.
Texans at Jags, man. I didn't know this. Tell me if you knew this. The Jags have been looking good. I expected them to beat Houston and go to 3-2. Did you know that with the Texans winning 13-6 on Sunday, that's the Texans' ninth straight win over the Jaguars?
No, that's an interesting fact.
That's crazy to me. And Trevor Lawrence has never beaten the Texans. He falls to 0-3 in his NFL career.
Wow.
That is crazy. Since when do the Texans own the Jaguars?
It's a
You learn,
weird AFC South, man. Texans own Jags, Jags own Colts. It's just
yeah. You learn something every day. That's why I like doing this podcast because doing my research, I found that out. Texans nine straight wins over Jacksonville, something I would have never thought. Credit to Texans rookie running back Damian Pierce goes for 113 yards and a touchdown. He's quickly becoming one of the best players on this Texans team. Do you agree?
yeah, I agree.
I mean, fourth round pick out of Florida. This is what people are talking about when they say you can find pretty damn good running back talent deep in the draft.
Yep, I agree with that.
Do you think he's a future star?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Trevor Lawrence struggles, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Um, I mean, do you think that Trevor Lawrence can end this streak against Houston soon, maybe later this year?
You know, I do just because I don't think Houston's that good.
Yeah, I know.
Again, it's the AFC South. It's
And like I said before, at some point that streak becomes like psychological a little bit, and mentally you're like, man, we just can't beat this team. So Texans go into their bye. They finally get a win. Go to 1-3-1. Go to their bye. The Jags at the Colts. We already talked about that. That's going to be a big ass game. We'll see how Trevor Lawrence and Matt Ryan and the Colts do against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Let's go to my Bears at the Vikings with Jalen Johnson out. He's our best corner. So I expected Justin Jefferson to just torch us and the Vikings to kick our ass. Um, they jump out to a 21-3 first half lead, but the Bears, to their credit, the Bears battle back and are driving to go get the game tying score. But former Viking wide receiver Amir Smith Marset is stripped of the ball by Cam Dantzler, and that's the game. The Vikings hang on to win 29-22. What did you think of this game, Dustin? What are your like initial thoughts of the Vikings hanging on to win the to beat the Bears 29-22?
well, I mean, first of all, I thought the Bears were going to go in, to Minnesota and sneak out an upset.
So you predicted the Bears to go into Minnesota and win, or during the game you thought that?
During the game, I thought that.
Okay.
I knew. I mean, at the end of the day, Minnesota was just too much talent to not be able to overcome what they overcame from the Bears.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, a bad team is going to make a bad mistake to lose the game.
So now you talk about the Vikings' talent and how much they have. Do you agree with me that when you look at this Bears team on paper, there's just not a lot of talent?
I mean, there's not a lot of talent, but somehow, some way, and you Bears fans have to give them credit a little bit. They are in these games. They do give themselves a chance to win these games.
Yeah, and credit to honestly, this is the first time I'm going to say this year, but I mean it. Credit to Matt Eberflus and the coaching staff because they did adjust at halftime and come out and play better football in the second half. But like that turnover at the end of the game, like the drops by Dante Pettis, and like the poor offensive line play that made it so difficult for Justin Fields to do anything. He's got so little time, and the receivers are having a difficult time getting open. This team is just lacking in talent, bro. It's a bottom 30 roster, talent wise. And so credit to the Bears for fighting and being in some of these games. But over time, that lack of talent is just going to show itself, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. But credit to Fields, man. He's doing what he can with what he has.
This
And
is the best game I've seen him play this year. He really did fight and make some plays. And that one, he had like a 50 something yard touchdown run that should have stood, but they called a bogus block in the back. But on replay, it wasn't. He got him in the shoulder. But you can see Justin Fields' talent. I've been saying this all along. My big issue is with the Bears organization as to why they failed so badly to give him good offensive line help and good receiver help. Outside of Darnell Mooney, there just isn't anybody. You're taking N'Keal Harry, who struggled in New England. You're taking Equinemius St. Brown, who struggled with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You're taking Dante Pettis. These guys are career. They're wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. Even Amir Smith Arset is wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. There just isn't any, top of the line talent. When you do have top of the line talent like Darnell Mooney, you see him make this outstanding one-handed Odell Beckham Jr. type catch. This team just needs more help, and I feel for Justin Fields. He's competing. He's trying so hard every game, and it's got to be difficult.
yeah, most definitely. But
And
man,
then you got stupid ass Bears fans that are already turning on Justin Fields, acting like he's the problem. And it's like, bro, open your eyes. This it's not Justin Fields, it's the roster.
yeah, at that point, we have to say, you guys got to know football because Fields goes out there and plays his ass off. And I mean, imagine yourself as being a quarterback. You don't have no talent to throw to. You're gonna go out there and people are gonna think that you don't look very good, but you're still out there trying.
Well, so you see it around the league. You see certain teams, and you're like, man, that's not a very talented wide receiver group. But at least they have this, which is a running game and an offensive line, right? But when you mix bad receiving core with bad offensive line, you're really asking yourself for trouble. And man, when you've got a young quarterback with such high potential like Justin Fields, wouldn't you want to give him a chance to be successful and get better? And I feel like he's in a very tough spot to do that.
Yeah,
And then
for
on top of it now, I'm having to have these, back and forth arguments with people on Bears Twitter who are talking about trading away Roquan Smith, our best defensive player, and trading away David Montgomery, our best running back. For what? I don't know. They want to rebuild even further. They want to get rid of the little bit of talent we do have. Like, come on now.
yep, I agree.
Absolute idiocy. So that's my rant. I'm sorry, but I had to get that off my chest. The Bears play on Thursday. The 1-4 Commanders at the 2-3 Bears. Our top corner, Jalen Johnson, is expected to play. We're going to be wearing that all orange jersey with the orange helmets. Those actually look pretty fire, don't you think?
Yeah, oh yeah, those are very fire, man, and that should give them the incentive to be hyped, going out there looking good. You should play good.
Well, did you like the Arizona Cardinals black jerseys with the black helmets?
I like those ones too.
So I agree, but they don't look as good when you lose to the Eagles, right? And I like the Bears all orange, right? But it would look a lot better on a 4-1 team right now. And my worry is the Bears are going to wear those all swaggy jerseys and be feeling good, and Carson Wentz and the Commanders are going to come in and beat us. That's my worry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen, bro. Because
You
I
got
just,
the Bears winning at home,
yeah,
and that's because what? Is it because you don't trust the Commanders, or is that the biggest thing?
I just, it's not like that I don't trust the Commanders, but bro, to me, Carson Wentz is even worse than he was in Indy.
And you're like, how does he get worse? Like Indy was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what gets me, man. He's talented. He's talented. He really is. He just makes knucklehead plays that are like, man, come on, you're better than this.
He's so inconsistent, and it's not just some of the turnovers. At times, he's really inaccurate with the ball too.
Yes.
So it's that's what you look for in a player is consistency. And Carson Wentz has lacked consistency and the ability to stay healthy throughout his career, and that's what really has plagued his career, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I mean,
Um,
pre ACL Carson Wentz was a force to be reckoned with.
the 4-1 Vikings. The Vikings improved to 4-1, leading the NFC North. They're gonna travel to Miami to take on the 3-2 Dolphins. I don't know if Tua is playing in this game or not. Have you heard?
I have not heard anything. Actually, I just did see that. I think Kyler Thompson is expected to start.
Skylar Thompson, right?
Yeah, yep, Skyler.
Because Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know why Teddy Bridgewater isn't starting because it looked like he didn't even have a concussion, but maybe he's in
Well,
concussion protocol.
I mean, maybe Miami's just not trying to make the same mistake.
Yeah, yeah, being extra careful. Yeah, I could see that. If Skylar Thompson starts, that's a great opportunity for the Vikings to get to 5-1 if they can get this road win.
Yeah, I I agree, and 5-1 would put you up toward the top of the whole NFC.
Yeah, win the division and you're at least gonna be playing a home playoff game. If the Vikings can do that, they can win a playoff game. Then it becomes how far can you go? Can you get to the divisional round and go further?
Yeah, and the Vikings are going to go as far as Kirk Cousins is willing to take them.
Yeah, and knock on wood, he stays healthy. All it would take is a Kirk Cousins injury to really derail that season, you know?
Yep.
Like any team, you lose your starting quarterback, but Kirk Cousins, people like to hate on Kirk Cousins, and he is inconsistent up and down, but he's even more of a roller coaster because, like in this Bears game, he broke the franchise record for consecutive passes completed. He starts the game 17 for 17, has the Vikings up 21-3, and then kind of comes back down to earth and lets the Bears back into the game, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But you know, interesting note is like Kirk Cousins is he does enough. If he bring down the turnovers, I think you know, not turn the ball over. I think the Vikings are going to be good.
Yeah. So we'll see who plays at quarterback for Miami, but big opportunity for the Vikings to get to 5-1 against the Dolphins on Sunday. Let's go to a team you've been talking about, you've kind of liked and been following all season long. The 1-3 Lions at the 1-3 Patriots. Mac Jones out with an ankle injury. Backup quarterback Brian Hoyer out with a concussion. So rookie, fourth round pick out of Western Kentucky, Bailey Zappi makes his first career start. Now, Dustin, tell me your thoughts going into this game. The Lions are 1-3. They're going into Foxborough, but with Bailey Zappi getting the start, you have to think the Lions have a shot in this game to get a road win, get to 2-3 if you're believing in Jared Goff and what the Lions are doing, right?
Yeah. Oh man, here we go. Uh, for
So let me just ask you this: you've been feeling the Lions. You've been putting their expectations up as far as like 8 or 9 wins, at least 7 wins, right?
yep.
And they're the fifth best, statistically, the fifth best offense in football going into this game. They get beat 29-0. What are your thoughts?
Oh man. First of all, I was disappointed. I was like, man, they're not helping my cause in trying to say that they're good. They always seem to let me down a little bit, but I just
This
think
is, go ahead.
Dan Campbell said it best. I don't know if you've seen that he said he feels like that they've hit their worst point of the season in that game.
Yeah, hit rock bottom.
Yep, hit rock bottom. I think that they're gonna recover. To me, they're still talented. I mean, they were the number one offense for a reason. I just think they went into New England and got outplayed.
Um, I just think this is such a typical Detroit Lions game. Detroit Lions loss, bro. And I'm not trying to hate. Hear me out. I've been a Bears fan ever since I was little, so I've seen the Lions up close living in Michigan ever since I was little. I know this team pretty well. This team does this. This team is building, right? They look good in training camp. They had the hard knocks. They were getting a lot of expectations, getting hype, and people starting to believe in this team. And they go out here in a Foxborough against Bill Belichick, against Matt Patricia, right? Who they desperately want to kick his ass because of what a shitty job he did in Detroit as head coach. And they absolutely lay an egg and get embarrassed and hit rock bottom in the biggest game of the year. Wouldn't you? Don't you agree?
Yeah,
Against Matt Patricia, right?
yeah.
Like Lions fans wanted this win. I know them. And to go out there and put up a goose egg, to get beat 29-0. And here's a stat, bro, that's very telling because Dan Campbell's been super aggressive, right? He's been our backs against the wall. No one believes we can win. So we're going to go balls to the wall and go for every fourth down and be super aggressive. And they just got obliterated. You can't tell me. So Dan Campbell decides to go for 6 fourth down attempts. He goes 0 for 6 as a team. That's 6 turnovers, bro. You can choose to play that way if you want, but you're never, ever, ever going to be competitive if you turn the ball over 6 times like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know. This league, man, is full of too much aggressive head coaches, man.
Yeah, that's too much, right? Like I agree to a point, but at some point, if you're 0 for 3 or 0 for 4, just start punting the ball, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, after 0-2, I, I start to get irritated when Frank Reich's like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna run the ball right up the middle."
Yeah. And it does this game mess with your confidence in Jared Goff at all, or do you still believe he's a solid quarterback?
I still believe he's pretty solid. Uh, you know, he's not, a guy who's gonna go out and win you a championship, obviously, but he's
Yeah.
a guy
Well,
who could get it done, in my opinion.
Golf fans are still hanging on to that that former history of his that he played in the Super Bowl. And so they're still talking about that potential, right? But man, that was a long time ago. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl MVP at one point. That he's not that anymore. And Jared Goff, in my opinion, isn't an NFL starter anymore. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I feel like his best days are behind him. And that's the biggest thing missing from this team. If you look back a couple years ago, the Lions could have drafted Justin Fields. And don't you feel like they would be in a better spot right now if they had?
I mean, yeah, I agree. Not only could they got Fields, they could have got Willis this past, year. It's,
Malik Willis, yeah.
yeah, it's like, or even Kenny Pickett. They
Yep.
could have, they had the opportunity to get him, and it's like you guys just fail on your quarterback picks. I mean, you had, one needle in a haystack in Matthew Stafford, and yet you couldn't put enough talent around him to win.
What do you think about this? What's their names? I can't think of it right now, but the Lions staff, the Lions he's a former player and he's the one calling the shots, like the GM. I'm gonna have to look this up real quick. But he's a former Ohio State player and a former Detroit Lion. That's why there was ties to Justin Fields, and many people thought they could draft Justin Fields. What do you think about the Lions maybe having an eye on CJ Stroud?
Yeah, that could be a very good, I mean, possibility as well. And I like CJ Stroud. That kid's a baller, man.
Yeah. And so maybe that's the thing. But I'm just saying, and you've been kind of hyping Jared Goff and saying the Lions might do better than we thought. Man, they need a quarterback. And as long as they have Jared Goff and they're not a top 16 talented team, I don't think they're a top 20 team as far as talent goes. Um so until they get better at that, they're 1-4. Are you gonna change your opinion on how many games this team's gonna win this year at all yet? Or are you gonna still wait and see?
I'm still gonna wait and see. You can call me crazy, but it could be a lot worse. Imagine David Blau starting for the Lions, or Tim Doyle, or
Yeah, it could be worse, but it's not that good either, in my opinion. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe I'm a hater. I guess I'm a hater of Jared Goff, huh?
yeah, or you just don't like teams in the NFC North.
The guy I was trying to think of, Chris Spielman. Do you remember him?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes. Former NFL linebacker, former Ohio State Buckeye. And with him kind of calling the shots as president and CEO, along with Rod Wood and Brad Holmes, the GM, I just feel like they're gonna have an eye towards an Ohio State quarterback, and maybe they don't get the number one pick, but if they can trade up and go get CJ Stroud, do you think that'd be a good idea?
Oh yeah. CJ Stroud would be a good pick for anybody.
Yeah, I agree. So the Lions are 1-4. They go into their bye week. As bad as it is in that loss, they go into their bye week. They can kind of hit the reset button, watch the tape and then burn it and reset and get ready to move on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And start fresh. The 2-2 Seahawks at the 1-3 Saints. Backup quarterback Andy Dalton gets the start for the Saints in place of Jameis Winston. So if you tell me straight up right there, Andy Dalton's getting the start, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Seahawks to win. What do you think?
Yeah, yep, Seattle for sure.
But they don't. They get beat 39-32 in a shootout. Taysom Hill, he can still do it, bro. Whether you call him a quarterback, a tight end, a weapon, I don't care what you call him. Taysom Hill combines for 134 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 passing. What do you think, bro? Shouldn't Taysom Hill get a chance to be the starting quarterback of this team?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Or I mean, at least the primary backup.
Yeah, and at least get touches like this and have a chance to be a major impact, right?
Yeah, I mean, the guy is athletic and he can do almost everything.
Here's a take. Let me know what you think of this. Taysom Hill is the playmaker and the weapon that everyone thought Tim Tebow was gonna be.
Yeah, I got my opinions on the Tim Tebow thing. But
Well,
I
he
don't.
was great. He was a superstar in college, but he was just so inaccurate of a thrower to work in the NFL, right?
I I just feel like Tebow didn't get his fair shot.
Well, there's one team I felt like he could have gone and had a shot with as a starting quarterback. The Jags, this was before Blake Bortles. The Jags were sending out Blaine Gabbert. I would have signed Tim Tebow and had him compete with Blaine Gabbert.
Absolutely, but I mean, hey, at least he can say he was
He
the
won a
greatest
playoff
college
game,
quarterback
right?
to ever
And a
play.
couple championships at Florida.
Yeah, but anyway, Taysom Hill, I knew was going to be good when he was playing at BYU because of everything he was able to do there. I mean, he played quarterback, but you could tell that he had the athleticism to be something bigger.
Do you know, speaking of that, so you like Taysom Hill coming out of BYU.
Yes.
Did you know? Let me look something up real quick because Taysom Hill wasn't always a Saint. Did you know that?
No, actually, that's a good question.
And would you consider any team that had Taysom Hill and let him go a mistake?
Yeah.
All right. Your Green Bay Packers signed Taysom Hill as an undrafted free agent in 2017, and he played a couple preseason games for
Wow.
him.
Why do you say my Green Bay Packers? I'm a Colts fan.
Yeah, right. Because you're an Aaron Rodgers lover over here.
Yes, I love Aaron Rodgers, but don't mean I like the Packers.
So interesting, stats that are on Taysom Hill. I found that out too and was like, damn, I didn't know that. Alvin Kamara still doing his thing, goes for 194 yards combined in
Wow.
the shootout. He's the man, always a playmaker. Um, bro, so I've been kind of man ever since I like Geno Smith coming out of West Virginia, right? And when he gets drafted by the Jets, I predicted him to win the starting job right off the bat over Mark Sanchez, and he did. And then I expected him to be something. And he was damn good his rookie year, pretty damn good. And then kind of went downhill ever since.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of liked Geno Smith, but ever since then, I've been like, he's just a backup quarterback. That's all he is. He doesn't have it. Bro, Geno has been balling. This is the best I've seen Geno Smith look since his rookie year with the Jets, and maybe better. This might be the best I've ever seen Geno Smith look. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, he's looking very good, and to the point to where what you were saying is again. I think this is another quarterback who didn't have a fair chance at playing for a good team with talent around him.
Yeah. I mean, well, part of it's Geno too, honestly, because he got chances to play. Remember when Eli Manning got his consecutive start streak ended? Because I think I forget why. Was it his performance or the team's record? And then they put in Geno Smith,
Yep.
and Geno had opportunities there and struggled. And he's had other opportunities and really struggled. But ever since Seattle, and especially this season, beating out Drew Lock for the starting job and been playing very well. I know they're what 2-3, but they're competitive. So credit to Geno Smith,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and he's got weapons. He's got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Lockett goes for 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf 88 yards and a touchdown. Some bad news here for Seattle. Some sad news. Rashad Penny suffers a broken fibula out for the season. I know Seahawk fans love them some Rashad Penny. He's a good talent. Hopefully he can get the surgery, recover, and come back as good as ever, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But some bright news. Rookie running back Kenneth Walker III. You know I was going to talk about this guy out of Michigan State, second round pick. Should have been in the Heisman, should have been invited to the Heisman room.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was the leading rusher last year, I believe, right?
In my opinion, the best running back in college football last year, and should have been the first running back taken in the draft. Do you disagree and say Brees Hall? I think Kenneth Walker is simply the best.
I mean, if you're talking about explosive, then yes, it's Kenneth Walker. But to me, my favorite,
Overall,
Brees Hall. Yeah,
yeah. I like that. That's high praise though, and I agree. Explosiveness and tackle breaking. Give me Kenneth Walker, right?
yeah, and Kenneth Walker is more of a home run guy. If you want somebody who's going to go in and get 20 carries, then you want Brees Hall.
Man, I'll give Kenneth Walker 20 carries too. And did you see that 69-yard touchdown?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, look out for Kenneth Walker in Seattle. I see future star written all over him. Do you agree on the future star part?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, he was already ahead of his time in Michigan State, in my opinion. He,
Yeah.
he
And
was
I'm
our
surprised none of us heard about him at Wake Forest either.
yeah, I know. That's me neither. And I'm an avid college football watcher.
Yep. How about this? Okay, you just mentioned you're an avid college football watcher. Did you know about Tariq Woolen out of UTSA?
Yeah, I heard about him coming into the draft.
Yep.
Uh, I've only seen him play one time, but I do know he is making plays over there in Seattle.
So fifth round pick. I mean, great value pick. And he's a starting corner. And he already has through 5 games as a rookie, right? He already has 3 interceptions. He's got an interception in each of the last 3 games. And he's got the lowest quarterback rating against. Like when the quarterback throws his direction, quarterbacks have the lowest quarterback rating in the NFL this season.
Wow.
That's incredible, huh?
Yeah, that is, man.
So, fifth round pick looks like a future star, looks like a shutdown corner. Seahawks know how to draft corner talent, huh? Richard Sherman, DJ Reed, and now Tariq Woolen.
For sure. And I mean, nowadays, bro, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. It's
Yep. Just
a
take
lot
advantage of your opportunity and ball out, right?
a lot a lot of some of the talent comes from third, fourth, fifth round, even sixth round picks sometimes. And it's the first round picks that are the disappointments.
Yeah, I agree. So, Jameis Winston expected back for week 6 for the Saints. So there's some good news as they'll host the 2-3 Bengals. How do you see this game going? Bengals at Saints with Jameis Winston back. Both teams needing a win.
Yeah, that's ooh. First of all, it's gonna be a pretty good game.
Yep.
Where's it at?
in New Orleans.
Oh, it's in New Orleans. You know what? Give me that Saints defense, man. I really like that Saints defense.
All right, I like it. And what are you gonna say about the Bengals if they start the year 2-4 after going to the Super Bowl last year?
I'm gonna change my pick to win the NFC North.
2-3 Cardinals at the 2-3 Seahawks. Here's another. I guess it's a bold pick. I don't think it's bold. Give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, give me the Hawks too, man. The Cardinals, man, they're such a disappointment to me.
Are you gonna give Alex some credit for calling this Cardinals team the Fraudinals?
I am.
I
It's
saw that shit coming,
true.
and to me, it's still. I know Kyler Murray's had his issues. To me, it still points to one guy. You know who it is.
Yep, Cliff Kingsbury.
Yep, fire him. I don't know why they extended him. Fire that guy tomorrow. Dolphins at Jets. Teddy Bridgewater gets the start, but gets pulled uh, early in this game with concussion symptoms. So he gets replaced by what? What is Skylar Thompson? He's like a seventh round pick, right?
Yeah, I believe he's out of Kansas State.
Man, he actually didn't do too bad in the game, but not enough to get the win. He got him back into it, so it was they got within two. I believe it was 19-17, but the Jets pull away late and win 40-17 over the Dolphins. What do you think of this game?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the Jets might not be as bad as what we thought.
Yeah,
Um,
and getting Zach Wilson back was huge.
I know that they lost, to a third string quarterback, but and for the Miami Dolphins, you just, I mean, I believe, you just gotta. I don't know what to
They-
say, man, because you have Bridgewater out with concussion symptoms, and then you also had Tua out, which if I was them, I'd keep Tua out for a couple more weeks.
I would too. And if you can get Teddy Bridgewater back, and he's a decent backup, you can be competitive with Teddy Bridgewater.
And I think Skyler starts this week for the simple fact that they don't want to have, a Tua 2.0 situation.
Yeah, imagine if Teddy Bridgewater comes back and gets concussed again.
Oh, man.
Can't have that. Um, do I get to take any credit for calling the Dolphins last year's Cardinals now that they're 3-2 since after they started 3-0? Or is this all on the quarterback issues?
I think it's the fact that Tua's not playing. So I'm going to tell you to pump the brakes just a little bit.
All right. Even
Uh,
I feel a little dirty taking credit for that one.
yeah, I mean, they get Tua back, they'll be just fine. They'll be competitors again.
No chance they win that division though.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But they have a shot for a wild card.
Yeah, and don't sleep. I mean, so if the Patriots win and the Dolphins lose, they'll be tied. And remember what I said in the preseason:
Yep.
Patriots to finish ahead of the Dolphins, maybe get a wild card over the Dolphins. So we'll see. I agree. They need to get Tua back, get Bridgewater back, get healthy, and then we can see exactly who this Dolphins team is. But big win for the Jets. I agree. They get to 3-2. Any chance the Jets can get to 4-2, go into Lambeau and steal a win?
Oh, no.
No chance.
I mean, I'm not going to say there's no chance because it's football. It's the NFL. There's always a chance. But
Yeah, not likely.
yeah, not likely. I just don't see it happening.
And Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to be pissed off about that. In their mind, embarrassing loss to the Giants, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not embarrassing, but a game they should have won. Um, and then Vikings Dolphins. If Skylar Thompson gets a start, give me the Vikings. So golden opportunity for Minnesota. Falcons at Bucks. 2-2 Falcons at the 2-2 Bucks. So, in my opinion, a must-win game for Tampa Bay. They can't start 2-3. They got the playoffs on their minds. They need to get to 3-2, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So they get out to a 21-0 lead, hang on to win 21-15. The Bucks kind of benefit from multiple penalties called on third down on the final drive against Atlanta. Really bad officiating game. Uh, really bad officiated game. Missed multiple calls and bad calls. Did you see that Tom Brady get sacked on 3rd and 5 and they throw the roughing the passer?
I did see that, man. That's just an absolutely terrible penalty.
What do you think? I mean, absolutely not, right? Not even close to roughing the passer. You have to be allowed to tackle these quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what this is? It's tackle football, right?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. It's tackle football, right? This isn't, come on, man. These aren't kickers. Football. I'm going to keep saying this. Quarterbacks are football players too. They have to be allowed to be tackled. They have to
I
be
say,
allowed to be put on the ground. And we're going to talk about this more coming up because of that Chris Jones hit on Monday night, man. What the fuck? The NFL's got to get their grip on this because these are some really bad penalties being called.
look, I see it like this. Okay, as someone who played football for many years, as a kid and growing up in the high school, look, you know what you sign up for. You're gonna have bruises. You're gonna have a broken bone here and there. It's just part of the game. I understand, and I know that we should all care about head safety with the CTEs and all that. But at some point, at the end of the day, this is football. We have pads for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. You're wearing helmets for a reason.
Yep,
Football comes with risks, just like any other sport. What does NBA come with? ACL injuries and Achilles injuries, right?
yep,
NFL has all that, along with concussions. NASCAR has concussion scares as well. It's the reality of life. It's the reality of sports, competitive sports. Let's stop trying to. Let's do everything we can for player safety. I agree, but at the same time, let's continue to play football, not this hug each other bullshit. You know what I mean?
yep, exactly.
So yeah, it's just too much. Um, and again, what does this go back to? If we could make these reviewable, if you think the NFL can review that and go back and look at that tackle of Tom Brady, I think they would likely pick that flag up, wouldn't they?
Yeah, for sure.
So review would fix a lot of these issues, and it might fix the one on Chris Jones as well. And we'll talk about that later. But Bucks hang on to get the win. They go to 3-2. I understand why Falcon fans would feel upset about the result of this game, but you know, I mean, the NFL does that sometimes. The officiating takes over the game, and that was pretty bad. That was the worst call of the weekend, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree.
Um, Bucks get the 3-2. Leonard Fournette goes for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. Something we've been concerned about all season long, Dustin. Where's Kyle Pitts at this year?
Yeah, I've been wondering that same thing myself. He just hasn't really stepped up.
I don't know if it's Kyle Pitts or maybe he's being phased out of the offense a little bit. I don't understand. Arthur Smith is known for the head coach of the Falcons. Arthur Smith is known for using tight ends. So you would think that Kyle Pitts would be a go-to option, even more so than Drake London, in my opinion. Kyle Pitts is that much of an athlete, that much of a playmaker. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, I don't know what's going on over in Atlanta, but even then, Kyle Pitts must be okay with what's going on because, I'm sure if he wasn't, there'd be rumblings.
Well, and maybe he's just trying to be a good teammate, and he knows he's only a second-year player, so he's keeping his mouth shut. But I wouldn't blame him at all for feeling some type of way right now, right?
Oh yeah, I agree. Yep.
Thus far, through 5 games, he has just 10 catches and 0 touchdowns. So hopefully they find a way to get him going. In week 6, the 3-2 49ers will go to Atlanta to take on the 2-3 Falcons. Tough game for Atlanta, even though they're at home. I got the 49ers. How about you?
Oh yeah, I love the San Francisco 49ers.
Best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, and
Um, go ahead.
you have a legit winner at quarterback.
Oh yeah, a winner, and then you got George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, those running backs, Kyle Shanahan calling plays. It's an embarrassment of riches, and a lot of people like to hate on Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's why we say, I mean, Garoppolo executes that offense a lot better than Trey Lance had so far. We got to give Garoppolo some credit.
Yep.
Um, Bucks at Steelers. We talked about this a little bit. No reason the Bucks shouldn't go in there and get to 4-2, right?
Yeah. Yep. Bucks are gonna be 4-2.
Um, 2-2 Titans at the 1-3 Commanders. You were rooting for Washington, trying to knock your Titans down to 2-3. The Titans hang on to win 21-17 with a goal line stand. Me and you were watching the end of this. Carson Wentz throws in a double coverage and is intercepted by linebacker David Long in the end zone on 3rd and goal from the 2 with less than 10 seconds left. Great play by David Long. Not that great of a decision by Carson Wentz. What did you think? I mean, you were rooting for the Commanders, but Carson Wentz lets you down once again.
Yeah, man. I guess this is never ending story with Carson Wentz, but uh, yeah, you have to make a better decision when you're down there that close. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ron Rivera kind of passed the ball more times than he should have down there.
Ron Rivera, yes, bro. Ron Rivera's got to take some responsibility for these L's as well. I mean, when's the last time Ron Rivera's had a winning season? You know,
Oh man, I'm gonna have to say with Cam Newton and Carolina.
maybe with Kirk. Was he here? Was he in Washington with Kirk Cousins
Ooh, I don't think so.
or with Alex Smith? Maybe they had a winning season. I don't know, but it feels like it's been a couple years. And I hate to constantly rag on Ron Rivera, but I've criticized him for some coaching decisions in certain situations. And so post game, they asked Ron Rivera, why is it that Washington is at the bottom of the NFC East and the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles are all 4-1 or better, you know?
The quarterback.
And he said quarterback. Bro, as the leader of the team, as the head coach of that team, of that roster, you cannot publicly throw your quarterback under the bus in week 5 of the season when he's fresh in a new situation. Bro, what the hell is Ron Rivera doing? What's he thinking, bro?
I don't know. I mean, didn't he do the same thing with Dwayne Haskins?
Yes. Yep. And bro, I can't support that. I can't defend that. Ron Rivera needs to take the L. I know that Carson Wentz is struggling. You're not going to get any disagreement from me on that. But as the head coach of the team, you need to stand behind your players, don't you?
Yeah. At the end of the day, don't throw them under the bus. If you have to, just say, hey, this week we're gonna give Tyler Henneke a shot.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. If Carson Wentz isn't getting the job done, it's on you as the head coach to put in a quarterback you feel can get the job done. And to sit there and publicly go after Carson Wentz is unprofessional and is loser ass mentality. And Ron Rivera needs to own up to this team's record, own up to the 1-4 record, and take some responsibility for that yourself, Ron Rivera, because one of those losses, at least one of these losses, was on you for a bad game management decision. I talked about it on the podcast. I think it was week 2 or week 1.
Against Detroit, right?
Yeah, yep. And go with Tyler Henneke if you need to provide a spark. Go with Sam Howell. As much as I don't agree with Mike Tomlin's decision to bench Mitch Trubisky, at least he had the balls to make the move and to say I needed a spark and to stand behind it. Ron Rivera over here, coward ass, won't stand behind a move won't make a move and instead wants to throw Carson Wentz under the bus. You ever heard me? Am I a Carson Wentz fan?
No.
No. So why the hell am I so upset and defending Carson Wentz here?
Well, it's just because of the way that Ron Rivera is going about it.
Don't you agree it's bullshit?
I do agree. And, like I said, also, that doesn't need to be done in front of a whole room full of media or anybody
No,
like that. Do it,
no,
do it at practice, do it in the locker room.
no, do it behind closed doors. Have a head coach quarterback meeting. Tell Carson Wentz he's not doing enough and demand more. Do not do it to the media in front of everybody.
Yeah.
There's a way to act like a head coach. There's a way to act like the leader of a team. And Ron Rivera is not doing that. And if I was the owner of the Commanders, I would fire Ron Rivera today.
Oh, you're really angry.
Yeah. I didn't think I was until just now. I got heated just now. And it occurred to me because that's how I feel. It's unprofessional, is it not?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
That was kind of fire, wasn't
Yeah, yeah, that was good stuff.
it? We're gonna have to make a clip out of that one. Some good news. Some good news for the Commanders. I mean, Carson Wentz threw for over 350 yards. He kept him in the game.
See,
He gave him a shot to win.
that's not the problem with Carson though. The problem is he just seems to make these odd mistakes at the worst times, or
Yeah, that's a bad
because
mistake. He threw into double coverage. I agree. I'm not gonna defend it.
because trust me, last year in Indy, especially, I don't know if you remember the Arizona game, but Carson had to put the team on his back and make a play to win that game, and damn, he did it. It's Carson can win you ball games. He just makes knucklehead plays, bro.
If you're Carson Wentz and you hear that statement from your head coach, don't you think that that's going to fire you up? And I bet he might play the best game of the season on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it would fire me up, and then it fired me up, and then want to look at the coach and be like, now
But
what?
well, you want to go out there, you want to throw 4 touchdowns, no picks, and give the middle finger to the head coach, right?
Yep.
Um, some good news for Washington, second year wide receiver. We like this guy a lot coming out of the draft. North Carolina, I believe, De'Ami Brown, right?
Yeah.
He goes for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a really nice 30-yard one-handed touchdown catch. These are the first 2 touchdowns of his NFL career. He was kind of quiet his rookie year, but he's got future star written all over him, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be huge for the Commanders.
Absolutely. So the 1-4 Commanders at the 2-3 Bears. I hope Bears fans aren't listening. Bears Twitter, don't tune into this one. I'm picking the Commanders.
Oh boy, your Twitter's going to be lit up as soon as people listen to this.
I can't help it. Honestly, that's what my gut tells me is going to happen. I got the Commanders winning just because I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago.
All
Uh,
right.
being a Soldier Field helps. I
You
don't
think
know.
the jersey gives them a little swag?
Yeah, the jersey, and then I also don't know. I haven't checked the forecast, but we've been having some wild weather over here, so
Yeah. Could
I'm
be
assuming,
bad weather.
yeah, bad weather in Chicago. Now, give
Yep.
me.
Um, you were rooting for the Titans to lose. They get the win. They improved to 3-2, are heading into their bye week. Um, I think in the preseason and early season, me and you kind of slept on the Titans a little bit. They're still number one in that division. If you get a win on Sunday, you'll tie with them, but the Titans have the tiebreaker so far. How worried are you about the Titans in the battle for first place?
Not worried at all.
Not worried at all?
Nope.
Come on now. I disagree with that. The Titans are going to be a threat. They're going to be there. And if you don't beat them next week, or not next week, but the following, and they get the sweep on you, then you're in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then I will. eat my words, but until then,
You
I'm
think
just
you're getting the W is what you're saying over Tennessee.
yeah,
Okay, and then you'll pull away in the second half of the season.
for sure. You know, I just think that look, I think this win over the Broncos is what we needed.
Okay.
And
I look, I think I agree that that was a big win. I do. I think you do beat the Jags on Sunday, but the Titans is a must win. And if you don't win that, um, honestly, even regardless, I think at most you beat the Titans by one game to win the division. One game or less. I think you might finish the season with the same record as the Titans. And that's why that game in a couple weeks is so important. That's my opinion. I could be wrong though.
and it's in Tennessee, man. That's what gets me.
Yeah. And especially something to keep an eye on. And the Jags is kind of a practice game to see how you look against the Jags because that's a big game in preparation for Tennessee. No more slow starts, Dustin. The Titans need to stop with these slow starts and come out ready to play, right?
Yeah, you're telling me. How about I get on Twitter, go to Frank Reich's Twitter, and be like, "Look, no more slow starts. You hear me, old man?"
Yeah. And figure out that offensive line, get Jonathan Taylor going.
Yeah, that's and Shaq Leonard has just had. I'm not gonna say a rough season, but an injured season so far, and that's been
No,
hurting us.
he has. He's had a rough start to the season, but it's all injury based. And bro, the one he's dealing with right now, a concussion and a broken nose, that sucks. That had to feel like shit.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I know one player doesn't determine the outcome of a game, but he's more than one player. He's your leader.
He's
He's
your
your
best defensive player.
absolutely, but
Yeah.
you know,
And a leader of the team, yes.
yep, because there's no I in team, but man, not having him in the jersey on the field, making the calls, holding, his teammates accountable, that's huge.
Yeah. That's like the Bears not having Roquan Smith. That's huge. That's a game changer. That's gonna hurt your defense massively.
Yep.
So hopefully they get Shaq Leonard back soon. Hopefully he gets healthy and can help this team out because they need him. 2-2 Niners at the 1-3 Panthers. The 49ers are hitting on all cylinders. They got the best defense in football. They blow out the Panthers 37-15 in Charlotte. The Panthers react by firing head coach Matt Rule. He goes 11-27 as a head coach in the NFL. Dustin, you've heard me say this multiple times. College coaches, for the most part, it's very rare. College coaches don't translate to the NFL. They're not successful. Um, if Nick Saban couldn't do it, Steve Spurrier couldn't do it, Chip Kelly couldn't do it, Urban Meyer couldn't do it, Matt Rule's not doing it either, right?
Yeah. We've seen Matt Rule not doing it, which it surprises me that he got fired so soon.
It surprises you that he got
I mean,
fired soon?
not like soon. I was expecting it to be after the season.
Yeah, mid-season firing, yeah, definitely surprising. But he
But
should have been fired in the offseason. This last one.
yeah, Carolina, there's a guy who's, if you're willing to open up the checkbook, he said he'll come to Carolina.
Sean Payton.
Yes, for sure, man. Go get him. If you want to be instant contenders with not with, come on. You still have Baker, and if you give Sean Payton Baker Mayfield, I think you can see like changes, and he can work wonders in Baker.
How about this? Let me pull up their depth chart real quick because they should have taken, they could have taken Justin Fields,
Yep.
and they could have had any of these, they were rumored to take Kenny Pickett, right? Did
Yep.
they took Corral?
Yep. And he got injured in the preseason.
Okay. Yes, I would do everything I could if I'm the Panthers to go get Sean Payton. Um, and then if you believe in Matt Corral, keep him. But I would give Baker Mayfield, Sean Payton, and I would even consider drafting another quarterback in the offseason and give Sean Payton a fresh quarterback room with Baker trying to prove himself and a couple young guys trying to develop. See if Sean Payton can get a franchise quarterback out of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And the quarterback I like, really, man, is Will Levis out of Kentucky.
Okay.
You know,
You yeah. Maybe the Panthers take someone like him, try to develop him, give him Sean Payton.
yeah, and oh man, there's no better quarterback developer that could come in, to your team and coach you, besides like Kyle Shanahan or somebody. But Sean
Yeah.
Payton would be the guy.
No, I mean he's right there with Kyle Shanahan in my opinion. You got Kyle Shanahan, Sean Payton, Sean McVay. Who
Mhm.
else am I leaving out?
You know, in a way, you know,
Andy
you
Reid,
yep, Andy Reid,
guys like that.
Pete Carroll, even
Pete Carroll, yeah.
he's
Um,
not going
I
bad with.
wouldn't put him necessarily in that. I think he's the next tier below. You got Pete Carroll, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, defensive coaches that know how to, put a quarterback in a position to be successful, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Bill Belichick even is in that same tier. So they named Steve Wilkes as interim head coach. Steve Wilkes is a former head coach. Can you tell me when and where?
Ooh, you said Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
He went 3-13 and the season was 2018.
Oh, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay,
Do you agree with the decision to fire Matt Rule?
I do, but just not at this moment.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of mid-season coaching hires because I feel like you should stick with the guy until the end at least.
Yeah, it is difficult to fire mid-season and then then you're stuck with an interim and who's to say he's going to do any better?
Yeah, and his record shows that he's not much better.
Yeah, well, I think he is better. He just had a bad team in Arizona. I mean, I think he was dealing with Josh Rosen back then, rookie Josh Rosen. I might maybe so.
And there's no doubt, like Matt Rule knows he's just gonna go to the college rankings and find a head coaching position probably this next season.
Who Matt Rule? Oh yeah, and you mentioned somewhere Matt Rule should go or could go.
Absolutely, man. Nebraska,
Yeah,
go
you think
there.
that'd be a good fit, and he could turn them around?
Yeah, or I would like to see him at Arizona State too. I think one of those two schools is where, because I mean, look at what he did with Temple. He took
Yeah,
an athletic conference team and turned them into a top 25 team, and then Baylor, who was decent, he had them in the rankings every year.
yeah, competing for championships.
And the difference is in the NFL, those are grown men, and he's a better recruiter and coaching kids than he is coaching grown men.
Yeah, no, that's the difference. It's a different mindset coaching college and pro. In the pro, you have to treat these guys, your players, like adults. In college, you treat them, still like kids, like student athletes.
Yeah, and
It's
man, it's definitely
um,
a bigger scale when it comes to leaving the college rankings to go to pro.
yeah, absolutely. For the 49ers, Nick Bosa tied for the NFL lead in sacks with 6.
Yeah, he's having a big year, and man, let me tell you, if he can keep that up, I might have to change my NFC Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a threat. Let's go Eagles Cardinals. The 4-0 Eagles at the 2-2 Cardinals. The Eagles get the win 20-17. Are you surprised? Did you think the Cardinals would win this game or could?
I mean, again, it's the NFL. Anybody has a shot, but the Eagles are just damn good, man.
They are. They look great. The Cardinals actually had a shot. They had a 43-yard field goal to send this thing into overtime, but Matt Prater's out. He's week to week with a hip injury. So backup kicker Matt Amendola missed the 43-yard game-winning field goal attempt, and they lose the game.
Yeah, these man, it sucks when you're on your backup kicker because we've seen it Monday night too with Kansas City.
Yeah, yep. Well,
And
until the ref stepped in and bailed him out, right?
yeah, yeah.
So Eagles improved to 5-0. To answer this, another trivia question for you: when is the last time the Eagles were 5-0?
Ooh, um, was it the year that they went to the Super Bowl
Damn, you're on fire tonight, bro. That's two in a row.
with Donovan McNabb and
Yep.
Andy Reid?
Yep, and Terrell Owens.
All right, let's go.
2004. Last time they started 5-0. And their defense, bro, I'm telling you, their offense is great. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, Miles Sanders. They got weapons, but their defense, bro, is top 5 in the NFL. And both their starting corners, both Darius Slay and James Bradbury, top 5 in the NFL in quarterback rating against in coverage.
Yeah, that's man. That's how you know.
Nasty, huh?
Yeah, that's how you know you're talented when even your cornerbacks are some of the best players on your team, and that's what you want because they're the ones who guard the best athletes.
Yep. Veteran Darius Slay, credit to him, man, still getting it done.
And the Eagles might be a Super Bowl contender.
Eagles and Niners right now, and I'm just gonna say, don't forget about the Bucks.
Of course not. I won't.
So this sets up 4-1 Cowboys at the 5-0 Eagles on Sunday Night Football. This is gonna be the game of the weekend, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cooper Rush is gonna get the start, or expected to. I'm not sure if it's official, but I think it's like 95% likely. Cooper Rush to start against the Eagles. Can Cooper Rush get to 6-0 as a starter, or can the Eagles get to 6-0 on the year? How do you see this game going?
Well, first of all, if Cooper Rush wins this game, then Dak should be worried.
Uh, You kind of took the words out of my mouth, and I'm going to take it one step further. If
And
Cooper Rush, if Cooper Rush beats the Eagles on Sunday night, Dak has lost his job.
oh, so them
Because they will
being
not bench. Jerry Jones will not bench a quarterback that's 5-0 and has not turned the ball over this year. I tell you what,
to me, that's a smoking hot take.
it's the right take. I will stand on a soapbox and preach this. I'm telling you, if Cooper Rush beats the Eagles in Philly on Sunday night, Dak Prescott will have lost his job. I'm telling you.
I mean, it makes sense, but man,
Not
and
permanently, not permanently, but for now, right?
yeah, and think about this too. You're gonna have uh Dallas's defense, they're pretty good too.
Yep. Well,
Man, but
you know what part of the problem is, right?
what's that?
Part of the problem is this. Um, so when Dak Prescott, I agree. Dak Prescott is the more talented quarterback, right? He is, and he's worth all that money. But the issue is that when Cooper Rush is in there, two things: he doesn't turn the ball over. That's gold. If you can find a quarterback that can make the plays and doesn't turn the ball over at all, he hasn't had a turnover yet this season, right? That's impressive as fuck. And so when you have that, Plus, what does Kellen Moore struggle with, and what do the Cowboys tend to do when Dak Prescott's in there? They tend to get pass happy. They tend to not feed Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard enough, you know?
Yep, I agree.
And when Cooper Rush is in there, they play run the ball first and they play defense. And that chemistry is perfect and it's lining up so well. There's a reason they're winning every game. And Cooper Rush is just making the plays. And they're not asking him to make 40 passes, 40 plays. They're asking him to make 15 to 20. And he's doing it. Bro, that is a perfect recipe for going for sky's the limit. If you can play defense as well as the Cowboys are doing and have success running the ball and win the turnover battle, you can go as far as you want in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And that being said, man, give me Dallas in an upset.
Okay. Give me Philly. After all that said, give me Philly.
Okay.
But it's going to be very interesting. I don't know. It's going to be a great game. I think it might come down to a field goal and who makes it and who doesn't. So nobody knows who's going to win this game. I'm leaning Philly because they're 5-0, and that Eagles crowd on Sunday night is going to be ridiculous. That home field's going to be crazy, right?
Yep, for sure.
But I swear to you, if Cooper Rush wins that game, Dak will have lost it at least for now, and that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Um, Micah Parsons had 2 sacks in this game and is also tied for the NFL lead in sacks with 6. And then how about defensive end Dorrance Armstrong of the Cowboys with a strip sack and a punt block? He's already got 4 sacks this season, and last year his career high was 5. So you got Dorrance Armstrong balling out. You got DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Micah Parsons, who ties the NFL lead in sacks, and then you got Trayvon Diggs. There's a reason this Cowboys defense is balling, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Man, that defense is championship worthy, and I said that before.
Yeah. Are you worried at all, switching gears here, about Matthew Stafford? He had 3 turnovers in this game, and he's struggling so far this year protecting the ball, and the team is under 500. The Rams are 2-3. Are you worried at all?
No, I'm not.
I think you should be a little bit.
Matthew Stafford still, Matthew Stafford, he has his struggles, but he's still an elite top 5 quarterback.
What if I tell you a smoking hot take right now?
All right, go ahead and say that.
Well, I don't think the Rams win their division. I'm going to start with that. The Rams might not make the playoffs this year.
Oh,
Am I crazy?
you might just be a little bit crazy.
I might be. The Rams probably sneak in as a wild card. I don't think. Do you agree that they don't win the division? The 49ers look like they should.
Oh, yeah. The 49ers are the best team in that division, yes.
Yeah, and I think they already won their first game head to head against the Rams. But they might miss the playoffs, bro. If they do, are you gonna give me some credit on the Stafford take or no?
I mean, he just came off a Super Bowl, so
He's not that good.
bro, I don't know the hate for this guy, but man, it is real.
Well, it's the turnovers, bro. I hate turnovers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. He doesn't help his case half the time.
Some of the time, yeah, I know. But at times he can be great. At times he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But at times he can be a turnover machine. So it
Yep.
just depends.
Yep, for sure.
Bengals Ravens was a great game on Sunday night. Uh, Me and you watched this. Wasn't this fun as hell to watch?
Oh yeah. Yep, definitely was.
Both teams 2-2, so a must win really because neither team wants to be below 500. And it's a big step towards who's going to win this division. The Ravens win on a Justin Tucker game-winning field goal. They get to 3-2. Does this make sense to you? Do you see the Ravens winning this division?
After the way I've seen them play, they should win it, but
Yeah.
I still don't want to rule out the Bengals just yet.
But this was a big win on Sunday night, going towards them finishing ahead of Cincy, right?
Yeah, it was for sure.
So, and it came down to the wire. I mean, Bengals did their job. They went and took the lead late, but Justin Tucker comes through in the clutch. How about this stat? So you've heard me, Pablo's heard me, multiple people. You've all heard me complain about John Harbaugh's decision making. Recently. And this stat goes right in hand with that. The Ravens had lost before this game on Sunday. The Ravens had lost 6 straight games decided by 3 points or less. And John Harbaugh's decision making had played a major role in that. That's a crazy stat, huh?
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy stat.
So, do you think that John Harbaugh kicking the field goal to go up 6, he easily in past moments John Harbaugh would have been aggressive here and tried when the score was 13-10, 4th and 1 at the 3-yard line. They in past instances they would have been aggressive and tried to go for the touchdown here. In my opinion, they were smart, kicked the field goal, and went up 16-10. Did you think that was smart?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because we seen it last year, when especially when Huntley was playing. We seen him go for it and it come back to cost him the game. So I think this time he was being conservative and being smart.
Yeah, and a lot of people then thought it backfired, right? Because the Bengals go down and they take the lead 17-16. But my thought process was this: you kick the field goal there for that exact reason. Because if you give up the touchdown, you're losing. I agree. But all you need is a field goal, right?
Yep, for sure.
And you've got Lamar Jackson. You've got the most accurate kicker in NFL history, Justin Tucker. Um, if you had gone for it and failed, then you're only up 3. The Bengals go score a touchdown. Now you're down 4. And what do you need now? Right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
need a touchdown. A field goal doesn't do anything. And with limited time on the clock, maybe you don't quite get the job done. Considering instead needing a field goal, and you can be more conservative, right?
Yeah, I agree. And you know something though, man, Lamar had the chance to even have a bigger win, because he missed Duvernay on a wide open shot, and then Tylan Wallace too, also.
Yeah. So big win for the Ravens. They get to 3-2. Big game here. 3-2 Ravens at the 4-1 Giants. Do you expect the Ravens to go into New York and get this win?
I'm I am gonna pick the Ravens just because I think at the end of the day they have a little bit too much
More.
talent,
Yep.
more talent than the Giants. And at the end of the day, man, I think Lamar's gonna come out and play a big game.
Yeah, and he needs to, right? He's playing for a contract. He wants to win league MVP. Josh Allen looks like he's got it, but if Lamar balls out and the Ravens get the 1 seed, you might give it to Lamar, right?
There's like two other guys too. I mean, the MVP is wide open to me.
Yeah, it is. And so, if Lamar can ball out, he wins MVP in a contract year, he's gonna be highest paid, easily.
Yep.
He's gonna earn that deal. So and then Monday night, Raiders at Chiefs. Great game. Um, Raiders jump out to a 17-0 first half lead, but the Chiefs rally to win 30-29. And the Raiders failed 2-point conversion attempt decides the game. Um, the Raiders score what should have been the game tying touchdown with 4 minutes left, but head coach Josh McDaniels decides to go for 2. Why? I have no idea. What did you think of this decision, Dustin? You're down 30-29. Don't you kick the extra point, the chip shot extra point, and tie the game?
Absolutely. Any non-football person would know you got to kick that extra point. Okay, like,
Yeah,
and especially at 1-3. Okay, your season really could be on the line, in my
yep.
opinion, at that call.
And
Now
yep,
now you're 1-4, looking back and like, man, if I would have made this a tie ball game, even if it would have went to overtime, because it's not like they weren't moving the ball on
exactly.
Kansas City. And what gets me, Alex, is why on a 4th and 1 do you call a deep shot? Like,
I
come
agree.
on.
I've got beef with that, but my beef is so much more in the going for two. Because Devontae should have made that catch on third down, right?
Yeah,
And normally Devontae makes that catch 9 times out of 10, and you go down and win the game. But the game should have been tied to allow yourself a little bit of room for error. And instead, you get too aggressive. And imagine what that win, imagine what a win in Arrowhead and improved to 2-3 would have done for your team, you know?
yeah. See, that's what I was saying is, man, now you're 4-1,
One
and
and four.
or yeah, sorry, 1-4, and you still have a decently tough schedule to play. Like that hurt a lot.
Yeah, and honestly, bro, I should have seen this coming. You heard me talk about how Derek Carr was my dark horse MVP candidate. I still like Derek Carr. I still like Devontae Adams. I still like Darren Waller. I still like Josh Jacobs. You know what I should have seen coming? And I'm kicking myself for not seeing it and calling it.
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. He sucks. He's a bust of a head coach. And he shouldn't have. He honestly, he deserved a second opportunity, but he just sucks. He's not an NFL head coach. He fucked it up in Denver. And here's a stat for you: the Raiders, of the top five Raiders' biggest blown leads in franchise history, Josh McDaniels in 5 games as Raiders head coach already has two of them.
Yeah, so hear me out, right? Let's say the Raiders have a bad season, 4-13, or 3-14 season.
Yeah, you don't even have to go that far. Go 6-11.
Do
Go
you
seven
think
and ten.
Josh McDaniels would already be on the hot seat?
If I were Mark Davis, if I'm the owner of the Raiders, and this team with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr misses the playoffs, goes 7-10 or worse, I am strongly considering firing Josh McDaniels after one season.
And something, I was raving about this a little bit. I would have loved if LA would have kept Rick Bisaccia as the head coach.
I agree. I believe Rich Bisaccia did enough to earn 1 year. Give him a 1 year deal, a prove it deal, and give him the opportunity. I agree.
Because the players seem to have loved to have played for him.
And they were close to beating the eventual AFC champions, the Bengals. They almost beat the Bengals in that wild card game, remember?
Yeah, yep.
And if they win that, Rich Bisaccia gets the head coach job. And so it was that little bit of detail, that little difference kept him from getting the head coach job. And I agree, I would have given him a shot. Um, but I don't think Josh McDaniels is the guy, and I think it's going to be a long season for the Raiders. There's still time, that they can turn this around. Remember how bad the Raiders were last year, and then Rich Bisaccia won a bunch of games in a row to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's still time, but it's just a big deficit to crawl out of.
Absolutely, it's a horrible start. And it's a game that it's multiple games that were right there for the Raiders to win, and they blow it. Remember that loss to the Cardinals?
Yes.
So before we get too far into here, we want to end this here soon. The Chris Jones strip sack of Derek Carr, but he's called for the body weight sack penalty. Arrowhead was the loudest I've ever heard it booing after this penalty, and rightfully so. This is the softest penalty in sports, along with taunting. And I'm going to ask you, Dustin, because you played the nose tackle position or the defensive tackle position in high school, right?
Yes, I did.
When you would try to sack a quarterback or tackle the running back, once you hit him and begin the wrap up tackle, did you have any control over where you were going to land?
No, and my first thought is what you're taught when you make a tackle is you wrap up and bring to the ground because that way they have no ability to keep running or break your tackle.
So how the hell is 350-pound defensive linemen supposed to control where they land in the speed of an NFL game?
You can't help it, and that's another thing. As me being a big guy, is when you're 300 pounds and you're running full force, you can't control where your body goes. Hear me out, Alex. Right? So the only way that I would throw a flag when it came to body weight penalties is if you literally pick the quarterback up off his feet and then land on him.
And drive him into the ground on his shoulder, right?
Yes, that
We
right there.
we grew up watching Julius Peppers and Adewale Ogunleye and John Abraham pick up and drive and
Jared Allen,
Indomitius.
bro.
What?
I said guys like Jared Allen and Ray Lewis.
Yes. We saw these guys pick up quarterbacks and drive them into the ground on their shoulder. And that was football. And I agree. Me and you agree. No more picking up quarterbacks and driving them into the ground on their shoulder. Yes, for the name of player safety, absolutely. But body weight, come on now. You can't do that. If they drive them into the ground, absolutely. But you cannot call the body weight sack penalty unless it's egregious, like you just said. It's absolute bullshit, and the NFL knows better, and they're trying to get away with this, and they're not going to. You saw the reaction from every NFL player on Twitter when that penalty got thrown. People are like, come on now, this isn't football.
Not only that, but the media, dude. It was. I mean, you had big names. You had Dick Vitale,
Tony
RG,
Dungy,
Joel Klatt, Tony Dungy, big time media at McAfee going
Sean
on here.
Merriman. You had everybody. Robert Mathis. Let them play football.
And
Come on now. It's over officiating, and you're affecting the outcome of games due to this.
why?
Because the NFL is hiding behind the agenda and the name of player safety. And you know what it's really concerned about? The star franchise big rating quarterbacks being on the field so that they can get their ratings and make the most money.
That's not right though.
That's the God's honest truth. The NFL cares about its bottom dollar way, way more than they care about the product of the game and the happiness of its fans. The NFL feels like it can do whatever it wants, and everyone will still tune in and watch. Feel like Carl Cheffers and his officiating crew in this game on Monday night completely botched the game for both sides, and there was missed calls all over the field. And this is the second or third time I've said this about a game this week, right?
Yep.
The as bad as people want to talk about sloppy football. Remember Tom Brady said, "I see a lot of bad football in the NFL."
Yeah.
There's bad football, there's bad coaching, but you know what's the absolute worst right now? What's worse than the football and the coaching?
The officiating.
The officiating has been really bad. And
Okay,
so,
so
hey, NFL, I don't know if the replacement refs are back or not, but get your head out of your ass and start doing a better job, please.
real quick, Alex, question
Yeah.
for you. So is Tua to blame for this past week?
Tua I mean, Tua himself is not to blame, but the Tua
Or
story is. Yes.
I, I mean, yeah, the Miami Dolphins, I should say.
Yes. Yes, they are. The overreaction. That's why Tom Brady got that roughing the passer penalty, because of he was thrown to the ground similar to the way Tua was. Um, Teddy Bridgewater getting taken out of the game. That was because of the Tua incident, and Teddy Bridgewater not playing next week is because of the Tua incident. You're seeing the ripple effect.
And do you also, last one, I promise, do you also see this becoming a continuing trend, or does it eventually stop?
No, I think it goes away. You're gonna see major ripple effects right away, and when the games start to be more and more meaningful late in the season, week 13, 14, 15, and into the playoffs, you're gonna see those rules get relaxed a lot more.
Okay, good, because I don't know if I could take much more of these BS calls.
No, they'll do it to the backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. There's no way in hell they're taking Tom Brady off the field in a playoff game. You know?
Yep, I agree.
Real quick, Devontae Adams' story. He shoves that stadium worker post game, charged with, some people reported it as a misdemeanor. It's even less than that. It's a city ordinance violation. It's a very small slap on the wrist. They're talking about uh like a $750 to $1,000 fine. Like, come on, this is a non-story. Devontae Adams, I don't think he gets suspended, and he'll be back on the field next week, in my opinion. Real quick, before we get out of here, Bills Chiefs, the game of the week next week, potential AFC Championship game preview. Mahomes has had Josh Allen's number thus far in his career. Can Josh Allen flip that narrative on Sunday?
Absolutely. I'm calling it now. Chiefs by 10.
You said Chiefs by 10.
Yes.
So Josh Allen's not going to be able to get over that hump.
No. Sorry. Bills by 10. I don't know why I just said Chiefs, but this is a different Josh Allen and a more talented Chiefs defense.
Yeah, I got Bills too.
Bills defense, man. Jesus.
You're straight. I got Bills. I think they get the win. The issue is the Bills can go get a win in Arrowhead in the regular season. The big question is going to be, do they face in the playoffs with a trip to the championship on the line? And who wins that one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's but I mean, at least this time around, hopefully the Bills have the better record to where instead of having to go to Arrowhead in the playoffs, they
That's
had to go.
exactly the point. This could very well determine home field for that potential playoff game, and that matters, doesn't it?
Absolutely, man. Going, I mean, either place is tough to play at, but going to Buffalo, Orchard Park, where it could be blowing snow.
Yup.
Whoo,
Hey, a bunch of snow in the field that could cut down on Mahomes' production, couldn't it?
absolutely.
Good shit as always. We're gonna get this episode out. I know it went a little longer, but trust me, it's all gold. Don't forget
Absolutely,
to,
man.
yeah, good shit as always, man. You brought it.
Yeah, thanks, and appreciate the listeners, man. You guys are the ones who keep us able to do this, and just man, continue to show your support. We're going places, big things on deck. Just keep so supporting us. It's going to go a long way.
Absolutely, and stay tuned. It's been a while since we had a big interview, and I have a feeling we might have one coming up here soon. So stay tuned. We'll keep on the lookout for that. So, good shit, Dustin. I'll see you next week. All right.
Yep, thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Yep. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.